There is a wealth of RPG games on iPhone and iPads, and this makes it incredibly difficult to find games that you can actually spend hours lost in. So to help with this, today I present 15 of my favourite iPhone and iPad RPG games. Number 15 is Cat Quest 2. The first game on our list is a new Apple Arcade experience by the Gentle Bros. It's an open world RPG, and like the first game, it is still set in a fantasy world filled with cats and dogs. It's up to players to explore the kingdoms, go on quests, engage in combat, and use a range of abilities. You can play alone and switch between the dog or cat, or another buddy can join in on the fun with on-screen local co-op. For co-op, this is best played on an iPad, obviously due to the larger display. On an iPhone it can be a little bit awkward with two people. Cat Quest 2 plays much alike the original, but has some new features. We have controller support, but you need to enable it from the options menu. 60 frames per second is here, a brand new story, new weapons, more spells and abilities, and more. To download the game, you will need to be subscribed to Apple Arcade. Number 14, we have Old School Runescape. I know this MMORPG game is very old now, but it was only released on iOS back in late 2018. But what you're getting here is exactly the same game as the PC version, even connecting to the same servers, and it runs at 60 frames per second on supported devices. The best part though is that you can start a task in-game on your desktop PC and then continue where you left off on your iPhone or iPad. To me, that's pretty awesome. The touch UI has been translated well for a touchscreen too, and you won't miss your mouse and keyboard. The game doesn't support controllers, but that's okay, it wouldn't really be suited to that input anyway. Old School RuneScape is free to download on the App Store. Number 13 is the Escapists 2 Pocket Breakout. In this game, you get to experience day-to-day life inside a prison, with the end goal of actually escaping. Escaping is no easy task, which means players have to spend the time to work out your getaway plan. While you do this, you will need to blend into the routine, so attend roll calls, clock in for jobs, and remain under the radar. You can play the game alone or with up to 4 players in local multiplayer. And there are 5 different levels, 2 easy prisons, and a medium and a hard prison too. Every level has a different layout and new faces. This means no level plays the same. Escapist 2 performs great on mobile, and the publisher, Team 17, went all out on this port. The touch interface can be played with 3 different control systems, or you can use a controller. The game goes for $6.99 USD on the App Store. Number 12 is Crashlands. This may be a fairly old mobile game now, but only recently it was updated for new iPhone screens, and we have a new screen co-op mode now. It's a story-driven RPG all about crafting, base building, battling, and going on quests through the world known as Crashlands. The world here is alive, with diverse locations, striking flowers growing out of the ground, crystals, animals roaming around, and heaps of resources for you to craft into furniture, or into a dangerous weapon. It's also quite a funny game, with the wacky conversations with your robo sidekick, or with the creatures that you'll encounter. Crashlands supports controllers and goes for $6.99 USD on the App Store. Number 11, we have Dawn of Isles. Dawn of Isles takes place in a stunning world filled with quests to go on, enemies to battle, pets to tame, and other players to meet. To be honest, the visuals are breathtaking, and are somewhat similar to the art style from Zelda Breath of the Wild on Nintendo Switch, or Monster Hunter Stories on 3DS. It's worth taking a look at, but do be warned, you'll be going around talking to characters on a regular basis. It's not always about combat and more combat. Anyway, the game can be played in low settings up to ultra settings. This means Dawn of Isles can run on iPhones back to the iPhone 5S or iPad Air. The game is free on the App Store. Number 10, we have Monster Hunter Stories. Originally released on Nintendo 3DS, Monster Hunter Stories arrived on iOS devices in 2018. This is an open world adventure that has been fully remastered for iOS, so it has new high-resolution graphics, an improved user interface, and a new autosave feature. Since it's an open world game, there is tons to do and explore, and the world is filled with large monsters roaming around, and you can recruit these monsters and fight with them in solo or network battles. It may be quite an expensive game, but you only have to pay for it once, and then you can play a fully fleshed out experience. Number 9 is Tempest Pirate. An RPG game all about battleships is what you're getting here. Originally it was released on Steam, but in 2017 HeroCraft ported it to iOS. Players can become a pirate, prowl the seas on a ship, and battle other ships, trade, and gather a crew. It brings you an open world to play with, filled with other ships, treasure, sea monsters, and brings an engaging story and the ability to play with friends. There are two versions of the game though, a free or a paid version. This means you can try the game and see if you actually enjoy it before you consider purchasing the full version. It's probably the best pirate-themed game for iPhone and iPad because the quality is really great here. Number 8, we have Dragalia Lost. Here is a game that gets swipe control action right for a touchscreen. It's simple, satisfying, and fun. The game explores the bonds shared between humans and dragons in a fantasy world. The game will have you traveling around with allies and challenging other enemies on your path. You'll have access to an array of attacks and skills, and you can transform yourself into a dragon. It has great voice performances, captivating music, and awesome 3D visuals. The application is free to download and offers some optional in-app purchases, but unlike some other similar games, it's a freemium title, and based on my experience, it isn't pay to win. Number 7 is Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. Back in 2013, this was one of the best console games on mobile. It is old, but it's regarded as one of the best role-playing games ever made, but also one of the best Star Wars games too. It has just a great single-player experience where you can use the Force, swing a lightsaber, fire weapons, and meet and interact with characters. This mobile version has been adjusted for touch input and works well for the most part. Sometimes it can be a little awkward, mainly when in combat, but if you have an issue with this, it's fully playable with the controller in hand. In 2019, Aspire Media updated the UI and resolution for iPad and iPhone devices. Knights of the Old Republic is a paid game, $9.99 USD on the App Store. Number 6, we have Evoland 2. Evoland is more than just a role-playing game. It's actually almost every gaming genre out there. From a 2D RPG through to 3D, a fighter, a shooter, a trading card game, and more. Look, the way it mixes between these formats is smart and not just a gimmick. The developer Playdigis made sure that the transition made sense for the timing of the story. This gameplay formula worked very well on the original PC version, but on the touchscreen, movement and combat can be awkward at times, which is why you should play this game with a controller. It is so much better. The game costs $7.99 USD on the App Store. Number 5 is Hyperlight Drifter. Recently, this game was updated to fully support 120 FPS on iPad Pros, and it still plays at 60 FPS on everything else. So if you have an iPad Pro, it is worth checking out for that feature alone. It all takes place in a 16-bit world where you play as a drifter who is trying to find a way to remove a vicious disease from the lands around. As you progress, you'll encounter a range of different enemies, and you'll have to learn their fighting patterns to take them down. You can also talk to NPCs for quests or backstories. It plays great with either the touchscreen or a controller in hand, and the game utilizes haptic feedback, and it uses this feature very well. Hyperlight Drifter will set you back $4.99 USD, and this is the special edition, which includes more weapons, enemies, and areas. Number 4, we have Death Road to Canada. Death Road to Canada is a zombie survival game with role-playing elements. Players must manage a group of characters, explore cities, rescue people, and deal with up to 500 zombies on screen at once. All this is set in a randomly generated world, so every time you play, there is a different story. This is a very underrated game, and is also the most expensive on this list too, going for $14.99 USD. Most people initially see this price and decide to skip it, but don't. Please don't skip it. It's an incredibly in-depth experience and is well worth the money. Also, it supports controllers too. Number 3 is Wayward Souls. Inspired by classics such as Spelunky, Secret of Mana, and the team's previous game, Mage Gauntlet, Wayward Souls builds on the successful elements of those games and brings out a game with massive amounts of replay value. For example, there are procedurally generated levels, so every time you play, it's a different experience. You can control one of 6 characters, and each one has a very different playstyle, abilities on offer, and equipment. It may have a retro art style, but please don't be put off by this. The game has a lot to offer. It is a paid game, $6.99 USD on the App Store. Number 2, we have Oceanhorn 2. Most of you should know this game, as it's displayed on the forefront of Apple Arcade. Some may not consider this an RPG, but according to the developer Cornfox and Bros, it is. It's an adventure game that mixes in an epic RPG main quest that spans for 15 plus hours. You'll engage in combat, explore the world, and collect treasure. It is one of the best looking games for iPhone and iPad, and it's amazing that it is supported on older devices, back to the iPhone SE or iPad Air 2. Incredible. Oceanhorn 2 is available to download if you subscribe to Apple Arcade. Also, side note, the first game was recently updated for new iPhone and iPad screens. It's also a great RPG game. Number 1, we have Stardew Valley. This is my favorite RPG game out there. I remember the first time I played Stardew Valley on my Mac. I ended up playing for more than 5 hours and hardly even scratched the surface of what the game offers. In fact, you can play this game for over 50 hours and still have more to do. It was ported to iOS in 2018, a few years after its original release on PC and console. It is a farming simulation role-playing game and is so incredibly addicting, and not in a bad way, as it rewards you throughout your playtime. It's also adorable from the art style, sound design, and dialogue. Stardew Valley goes for $7.99 USD on the App Store. Elder Scrolls Blades is a free early access title and is the closest thing to Skyrim on iOS. It had a rough initial launch on the App Store, receiving mixed reviews, but Bethesda have been hard at work adding in new content. We have more quests, new enemies, challenges, arenas, jewelry, decorations, bug fixes have been applied, and Bethesda.net is no longer needed to play. It's also one of the best looking games for mobile. It's worth taking a look at if you've never played it or if you played it in the past, because it's a lot better now. Here we have a Japanese role-playing game by Atlas and Sega. In fact, Sega published the game for iOS. You'll go into turn-based battles here, and use a press turn battle system, which was found in the previous games in the series. You can also play the game in the new AR mode. This title has been praised for its high graphical content and its ability to retain the soul of previous games in the franchise. The only issue I have with this one is the tutorial or hints at the start of the game. It just keeps going and going and going and going and going. Once you get past this, it's amazing, but I really want mobile games to stop this. Anyway, apart from all that, it's free to download on the App Store and it's actually a pretty good game. What are your favorite RPG games to play on your iPhone or iPad? Was it on this list? Did I miss it? Let me know in the comments. This was actually an incredibly difficult list to compile, so if you found it useful, all I ask is for a like. Plus, subscribe and turn on notifications to be alerted about upcoming videos. Anyway, thanks for watching.